Look, firstly, I think we should not, the ANC must not think that we are naive. This decision today is not isolated from the decision that was taken by the party to recall President Zuma last month and to prevent him from delivering SONA. This is precisely the reason why they didn't want him to deliver SONA, because they probably knew already back then that the NPA would have no choice at some point but to reinstitute charges against President Zuma. We need to put that on the side. The second issue is there's no reason why at all we should be commending Sean Abrams, for an example, to say that he's provided sterling leadership. It's clear that this time around he has been pressurized by the dominant faction in the African National Congress to do the right thing that he has failed to do for many years. Be that as it may, I think we welcome this decision. It's a step in the right direction. It's a long overdue decision. It's something that should have happened ages ago. But the other thing that we should probe and discuss further is the reason why this NGO has decided to file its application at the Western Cape High Court instead of the Pietermaritzburg High Court. We find that to be a bit suspicious, but only time will tell.
When you say you find it to be suspicious, what do you think is at play here?
Remember, there were other issues that had to do with political dynamics at play at the Western Cape High Court. You'd remember the issue without impugning the integrity of anyone, but remember, maybe this NGO might be fancying its opportunities or chances of success, or an outcome that would be favorable for President Zuma if the matter was to be pursued in a different court or in a court other than, say, for an example, one that is in Pietermaritzburg. It's just an assumption at this stage, or a suspicion at this stage, but only time will tell. I think when it comes to President Zuma, we must always be vigilant, because we know that he's a shrewd politician who is able to run rings around people, including some very seasoned politicians. So it means we need to be vigilant.
Unfortunately, I can't let you get out of this one so easily, because to some extent it does have implications, at least for the Western Cape's judicial system and the integrity there.
No.
Okay. I just needed to get that point very clearly.
No, not at all. I'm saying, remember, there were a number of issues that had to do with President Zuma and allegations which I think the Judicial Service Commission was dealing with at the time. I don't want to get into that, but I'm trying to say that when they looked at maybe the totality of issues and they analyzed the issues, they probably thought that by using a different court instead of another, that would increase their chances of getting a favorable outcome. I'm saying we need to look at all these permutations and understand their line of thinking and why they would target, in particular, the Western Cape High Court, without impugning the integrity of the judiciary or the arm of the judiciary here in the Western Cape. I was just saying, as a politician, we need to consider all our options and consider all the issues, especially when we're dealing with President Jacob Zuma.
So if I hear you correctly, very briefly, your expectation is that they might be he may be looking for more loopholes in terms of delaying this matter even further.
More loopholes of correct, or more loopholes of how they can manipulate the system in their own advantage, and loopholes of how they can make sure that if at all there's, even if it's a slim chance of getting a favorable outcome or being able to get away with some of the things that they've done, they would look for loopholes in the system and look for weaknesses and try to exploit those to their own advantage. It doesn't mean that that arm of the judiciary would be complicit in that. But as politicians, they would try to look for loopholes and weaknesses and try to exploit them.
All right, that's where we leave it for tonight. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for.